All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are in chapter 13.2, and in today's lesson, we're going to define some vocabulary about angles, and then we are going to teach you how to convert between maybe a measure of angle that you're not used to called radians. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump straight into that. So here we have a nice picture of some of the things that we need to recognize. So first of all, here, an angle. An angle is composed of two rays that meet that share a common vertex. Okay, now to call something in standard position, right? Standard position. It needs to fit this layout. Okay, so the initial side of an angle in standard position, notice, goes off to the right here, right? It is pointed out on the x-axis towards 0. We call that the initial side, okay? So for something to be in standard position, the initial side needs to be pointing straight to the right, okay? Now notice the angle is formed by then moving the second ray along, rotating around the point on 0. So here we have this rotating this way. And then this side of the angle is called the terminal side. So initial side goes this way, and then wherever we rotated the other ray to, that is called the terminal side. Okay. Now, a measure of an angle is positive if its terminal side is counterclockwise. So notice that we measured the rotation here was a counterclockwise measurement. That is what we call a positive angle. However, if we were to have done the same rotation, but instead did it the other direction, clockwise, we would call that negative. So something like this, going this direction to the point right there, would be creating a negative measure. And it would be the same measure, it'd be the same number. It's just this one would be a positive number and this one would be a negative number, right? This is probably like 115 or something, right? So this would be positive 115 and this would be negative 115. So it's also important to note that the terminal side of an angle can go rotate around more than once. So it can start here, rotate completely around in the circle to make 360, but then it can just keep going, right? And eventually make a ray going this direction, which is not a 90-degree angle. It's 360 plus 90, making it a, excuse me, 450-degree angle, okay? So a terminal side can rotate around the whole circle more than once. All right, so let's look at a couple of examples of this. So we're just going to draw an angle with the given measure in standard position. So 240 degrees. The initial side goes this direction, right? So there's my initial angle. And I need to rotate this counterclockwise because it's positive. I rotate counterclockwise. 240. So I have to kind of count this up a little bit. Remember, each of the quarters here of the circle are 90 degrees. So this is 90, 180, 270. Okay, so I'm not going to go all the way here because that's to 270, but it's going to go close to there. So initial side starts here, but then I rotate my terminal side 90, 180, and then about there. Right, halfway through, it's 45. It's a little bit further than halfway through. So we're approximately there at 240 degrees. Okay, so this angle, right, where this thing is coming across this direction counterclockwise, is a 240-degree angle. What about 560? Well, that is a bigger number than 360 is. So again, initial side comes here, but we're going to rotate one full rotation around and that's at 360 right there. But how much more do I need to go? 500 minus 360 is 140. So this right here is going to be 360 plus 90. That's, excuse me, 450. It's not quite enough yet. I need to go a little bit further to get to 500, right? There's 50 more degrees there, which is slightly more than half. So we go to about there. And that angle is 500 degrees. It's a full rotation plus 90 plus 50. So a 500 degree angle measure. Finally, this last one is a negative 50 degree angle measure. Well, it's negative, which means I'm going to be going clockwise now. So I'm starting in my initial side here, but then I'm only going to go 50 degrees, which is a little bit more than half. So we're going to go about there. And that is a negative 50 degree angle because it goes in that opposite direction. The last little bit of vocabulary that you need to know is what a coterminal angle is. So in this last example, 500 and 140, this little measurement right here, are coterminal. And coterminal means that their sides match. Their coterminal sides, or excuse me, their terminal sides match. So if the terminal sides of two angles match, then they're coterminal angles. And you can find an angle that is coterminal with a given angle by adding or subtracting multiples of 360. Because every time we do a full rotation of 360 degrees, we're going to have areas where the terminal sides can be the same. So if we add and subtract multiples of 360, we can find coterminal angles. So here we go. Find one positive and one negative angle that are coterminal with negative 45 degrees. So for the positive one, we're going to add 360. So here's negative 45 plus 360. And whatever that is going to be our coterminal angle. Turns out that that's 315 degrees. So that is a positive coterminal angle. It is the same angle, just rotated around positively 360 degrees. A negative coterminal angle, we're going to subtract 360 degrees. So negative 45 minus 360 turns out to be negative 405. So that is a negative coterminal angle, right? A negative 45 degree angle is about there. So if I rotated 360 degrees this way, I would get 315. And if I were to do the same thing to this negative 45, except this time go in the negative direction, I would get negative 45 or negative 405. All right, that's everything for this video. If you could head back to your Canvas and do the example questions on your notes, and then submit those, we'll see you in the next video.